So we just got a preview copy of AOS Dominion and let's just do another unboxing video. I'm kidding. What we're going to do, we're going to assemble the miniatures and prepare all these models for army painting.
Then the entirety of the cosmos is accessible to each and every individual's mind, connected to the great mind, the great spirit.
Welcome back to the Studio Collectors. So in this video, we're going to take a deep dive into the miniatures of AOS Dominion and how we will be preparing them for army painting. I know, we are kind of late to the game because there are really tons and tons of unboxing videos out there and we don't really want to add to the pile. What we're going to do is we're going to do a deep dive into the miniatures, think about the colors and how we're going to divide them to make batch painting and army painting even more easy. I've designed this series of videos to be very beginner friendly. So whether if you are new to the hobby or really want to try out miniature painting, this video is just right for you. In this series of videos, I'm going to be guiding you guys step by step, and if you continuously put in time, you should be able to finish up the entire box of Dominion very quickly. So as usual, I've organized this video into easy to watch chapters, and the chapters for these videos are unboxing, assembly guide for the crew boys, assembly guide for the Stormcast Eternals, and lastly, how to get the entire army quickly zenithal highlighted. So without further ado, let's move on to the brief unboxing segment. Remember, if you're just here for the assembly guide, just skip on ahead to the next chapter. Welcome to the unboxing segment of this video. In this segment, I'm going to be just quickly taking a look at what's inside the box, not really taking a deep dive, and just for my own sake to smell that new model smell. Alright, let's get unboxing the AOS Dominion box set right now. Alright, so we're going to unbox Dominion right here. Look at this hardcover box. It's nice cover artwork here of the new Annihilators. Let's have a look at the back and let's see what's in it. So of course everybody already knows it's 60 miniatures in here. But why I'm doing this is just for myself, because I want to feel that and smell that new box smell. And let's unbox this huge box. Can really smell the new model smell. And let's see what's in this. Okay, so of course, like you guys already know, there is this cool artwork here. Surprisingly, they put the artwork the other way around so that the nice side doesn't get damaged. So as you can see, the other side gets nicked by the models and the plastic, whereas the printed and the art side is nice and clean, which is pretty smart to do this now. Okay, so let's just look at the crazy amount of models that we are getting. So I guess this comes with 2 sprues of Hobgrot Slaters. I think this will make up the 20 Hobgrot Slaters right here. These are the Stormcast sprues. Looks like the Vexillor comes with the Vindictors, so we might see them come together in the future. So here are the Praetors, 3 Praetors. So it looks like the Praetors will come in their own kits in the future. This looks like a single kit, but you might see the Praetors come in 3s or maybe even 6s in the future. Who knows, maybe even 5s. You might just add on some extras. Comes the Vexillor. So there might be more than one Vexillor. So the extra flags here, we'll look at the instructions and we'll find out later. Okay. And the killer boss on Nashtruth is here. And the rest of the characters. So I guess the killer boss will probably come with the characters packed in the future, like how they did with the Necrons and the Space Marines for Indomitus. So the Knight Arcanum, and I guess this is the other killer boss with the Step Grot shield here. So it looks like it comes in character sprue. So you might want, this might come in a future sprue on its own. And of course, what we have here, the Lord Imperator and Hobgrot and Swarmcaller. Okay, all individually sprued. Very suspicious, but not at all. Alright, so the Knight Vexillor is here. I made a mistake. There wasn't a Knight Vexillor in the other two there. And in here, what you will see is the Annihilators. I would say that I would suspect that Annihilators might come in a separate box, but I wouldn't say that Ymdrassa will come in a separate box in the future. You always need to buy her along with some kind of group set. And of course, my favorite models of the batch. These are the Gut Rippers along with the Scare Shoes. Wonder if there are options, but we'll find out when we look at the instructions. Okay, so right here you have another art print. Unfortunately for this one, this has already been stabbed and destroyed by the sprue, so too bad. And here we'll have all the paperwork. So this comes with all the cards and custom campaign. Oh man, the base is broken for one of the things. No idea which one, but looks like Killer Boss on Nashgroove don't deserve a base. This box looks like it's been through some tough life, man. Because this is the core book, you've seen the core book, of course, in its custom cover art. Nothing too special, I'm not going to look through this. And of course, let's look at Mountain of Bases. Guess this is Ymdrassa's base. And you don't see much from here. And of course, Broken Base, Broken Realms, whatever. Okay, so let's just dive right into the instructions. Okay, let's just... Oh, nice. They didn't seal it again. So I'm just going to look at the instructions so that we can prepare the models for army painting. Okay, so Dominion instruction sets right here. I like that they have these measurements here so that you don't mix up the bases. It's 25mm, 32, 40, 65 and 105. Thankfully they don't have that weird 28mm stuff. And of course that looks like there are options. Okay, so of course this is Ymdrassa. Definitely gonna leave out the wings. Yeah, that will make painting a lot easier. Definitely gonna leave off the cape. That will make painting a lot easier too. Okay. So Annihilators. Can we leave off the shield? Yes, wonderfully designed models. We can leave off the shield. Then where's the standing dude? Standing dude. Leave off the shield. Wonderful. This looks like it's gonna become a very easy to paint set. Who am I kidding? Okay, looks like there are some options for the heads here. And have them masked and unmasked. That's awesome. Wow, wonderful. The Vindictors. You can leave the shoes off, leave the shoes off, leave the shoes off. Wow. What's going on with Games Workshop? They are designing the models better. I'm very surprised. This is all 10 of the Vindictors. Some parts here that you can just mix around. But I'm just very surprised that they left the shoes modular. It's a very pleasant surprise for me. Okay, let's look at the Nashgroove. This looks like gap filling heaven here. It's gonna be a lot of gap filling. So let's prepare for that. Looks like I don't get the base, man. Base is broken. See whether we have the option of leaving the skulls apart from the... I don't think so. Yeah, it doesn't look like you can leave the back skull apart. Belcher Banner dude. This guy looks simple enough because it's open pose. Now for the Gut Rippers. Can you leave the shields apart? Yes, you can. You can leave the shields apart. However, the shields have the hands attached next to them, so that's something that we gotta work around. It's not too bad. Yeah, like this one comes with the shoulder pad, but I guess it's something that we can work around. Might need to do some gap filling. Okay, now for the Hobgrots. Looks like the Hobgrots, we gotta assemble them as one piece. We just leave the banner aside. Okay. So there are options for the heads too. See how much bits we have left. And these are all the models. These are the instructions. So that's me feeling good about the new box smell. Now let's head on to assemble the miniatures for army painting. So now that I've gotten my fix of the new box smell, let's move on to the assembly guide for the crew boys. So in this chapter, I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to split the parts so that you can effectively batch paint all these miniatures. And because batch painting is the most efficient method of painting, you guys can get this whole horde of grey painted very quickly and relatively beautifully. So for the first segment, let's look at how I will subdivide the crew boys for army painting. So for the crew boys, we're going to approach this in terms of materials. Fundamentally, the main materials for the crew boys would be the green skin, the brown leather, the red scare shields, as well as the metallic parts. So most logically, what I'm going to be doing is I'll be keeping the scare shields away from the main body to allow the brush to access all the hard to reach areas. This also allows me to quickly paint up the flesh and the leathers because they aren't obstructed by the scare shields. So for the next big horde of miniatures, it would be the Hobgrot Slitters. The Hobgrot Slitters are small miniatures and you can't really subdivide them. I'd say I'll try to leave off the banners so that I can base coat them easily and quickly. So without further ado, let's see the sub-assemblies for the crew boys for army painting right now. Alright, so we're going to assemble the crew boys here. As you can see, some of the shields are stuck to the body, so no choice. But anyways, as usual, we are going to leave a bit of the plastic on the model. Okay, so right here you can see that when I'm clipping off the models, I'm actually leaving a bit of the sprue on the model and I'm just clipping away the parts. Okay, because I'm going to use the flat nipper here and I'm going to just snip off the excess. So you can see, just snipping off the excess, and you can get a pretty clean cut like this because you're not restricted by the sprue and you don't stress the plastic as much. So right here you can see what I've done is I've done a 45-degree cut on the pack. So this allows me to disassemble the miniature if I have to. The GW miniatures don't really have a lot of tolerance. So more often than not, when you don't do the 45-degree cut, the parts don't fit together. Okay? So now, because the crew boys are organic, there are a lot of gap filling areas that you need to do. So what I'm doing here is I'm using AK Grey Putty. I'm just placing it in the areas where I need to fill up the gaps. Okay? You want to clean off the excess with a wet brush. And what I've done for the army painting part, I snipped off the slaughter bases for the slitters, yes, the Hobgrot Slitters, so I can place the base in. This will allow me to do the mass painting for the bases, which you will see in a later video. So right here you can see, try to leave the shields apart because this helps with painting, so you can reach all the areas. And that's about it for the crew boys sub-assemblies. So now that we're done with the bulk of the work for the crew boys, let's look at the Stormcast Eternals. For this chapter, I'm going to look at how I will be assembling the Stormcast Eternals for army painting. The first problem that I've identified from the Stormcast Eternals, similarly to the crew boys, is that the shields are definitely going to get into the way of painting. I would definitely leave off the shields for the Vindictors as well as the Annihilators. And because I'm leaving off the shields, this is going to allow me to paint up the shields in the main color that is blue using a mass painting method such as an airbrush or even a spray can. So let's take a deep dive in the Stormcast models and prepare them for army painting right now. Alright, so as for the Stormcast Eternals, I'm doing this in a similar fashion. I'm leaving a bit of the sprue out. For the Stormcast Eternal, you gotta do it even more carefully because a lot of the joining areas, they are on armor panels. And when armor panels you cut excessively, it's a bit hard to undo that because it's a divot, and to fix a divot on a smooth surface is not easy. So always measure twice and cut once. Okay, so after you've cut, especially for the Stormcast, I'm using a bit of sandpaper to remove the excess nubs rather than using the cutters to really go close. And right here you can see, snip, snip, snip. I'm gonna be doing all my Stormcast Eternals in helmeted heads. because this makes for faster painting. As with the crew boys, I've done 45-degree cut so that I can remove the armor panels if I deem fit. And then again, sanding away the extras. For the Stormcast Eternals, there are not much gap filling to be done, and I think the only big gaps that really need to be filled are the models where the front half meets the back half, which means this goes for the Annihilators. Of course, you just need to fill up the gaps, then after that quickly go over with some 200 grit sandpaper or sanding sponge. Then after that you can go on again with sandpaper of a higher grit because it helps you reach even closer and it helps you eliminate all these hard to reach areas. Alright. Okay, so as you can see, the sub-assembly for Stormcast Eternals, they've designed their miniatures very well. I wondered why they did it for the Stormcast so that the shields come off, but for the crew boys, you don't see this happening. Okay, leave the shields apart. So now that all the miniatures have been assembled and prepared for army painting, we're going into our final chapter, which is how to mass Zenithal highlight all these models. Zenithal highlighting means painting the models black and going over the top of the models using a white paint, usually using a spray can or an airbrush. This allows the exposed surfaces from the top to appear lighter in color, where the shadows and the crevices remain dark. This allows the miniature to look very contrasty with very little time spent. For the purposes of these army painting videos, I will not be using an airbrush. I will just be using a regular spray can, and this allows me to do this very quickly. So without further ado, let's go on to Zenithal priming all these miniatures right now. Alright, so what I like to do is I like to place the models face down first on Blu Tack and shake up the can. Why do I do this? Is because I want to spray the entire model black. I don't want to miss any areas. So I'm doing this face down first. Then after that I'll flip it over and face up. Why you want to do it face down first is because when you flip it over, there's a chance that some poster tag might just be left over and you don't want to damage the front. Okay, now that both sides have been painted black, just go over the top with some white spray can and that's your Zenithal done. So now that the entire box of miniatures have been Zenithal primed, I'm so excited to paint them up using my new AK Gen 3 paints. So are you excited for Dominion? Let us know in the comments down below what you'd like to see us cover. I know that I've already laid out plans in the previous video, but why not just let me know down in the comments? And because we're still recording these videos right now, I'll try my very best to include them in future videos that we are producing at the moment. So the next video in the entire series is going to be how we are going to get the entire batch of Hobgrots litters painted up very quickly and beautifully with my apprentice Sophie. So you don't want to miss that out. Thank you guys for watching all the way to the end once again. Really appreciate it if you could give me a like and subscribe if you found this video useful. And if you want to support the channel directly, head on to our Patreon and get a whole slew of painting content right there. Thank you once again to my patrons for allowing me to do this, and hope to see you in the next video where I'll be painting the Hobgrots litters with Sophie. See you guys.